Hi guys, welcome to my channel. I'm opening a new series which would be called something like Dear Diary or Dash's Diary or something like that, because I've been shifting through some stuff today and I really want to share the main precious ideas I've learned. And so the way I see it is that I'm just gonna talk, I'm just gonna read what I wrote in my diary, and I'm just gonna explain how I see stuff to you. And also my hair is super curly today and super weird because I was lazy enough not to braid my hair the night before and I used the curlers, and well, yeah, it looks it looks okay, I guess. So anyway, let's start. So I was doing money meditation today. My sister and I decided to do this 90 days money meditation or visualization. No, I think it was mostly meditation. So in this meditation, there was a question: name the amount of money that you want, the sum of money that you want. And I paused for a second during the meditation and I had this idea coming up that no matter how much I ask, I will still want more. And I kept meditating and I kept, imagining what I was supposed to imagine and think about what I was supposed to think. But after the meditation, I decided to journal about this, because this thought that no matter how much I want, I just realized that my lights are changing and it's gonna be a pain after I edit my video, so I'm gonna change it real quick. I actually think I want green. Okay, so this idea that no matter how much I want, no matter how much I ask for now, it won't be enough, I will still want more, and it's somehow bad, comes from my childhood and the way I was raised, with this belief going on. I don't know, I think everybody was raised with this belief that money doesn't bring happiness. I even remember my father giving a toast not so long ago, maybe on New Year's Eve or something, saying that, what did he say? No, I think it was earlier than New Year's Eve. I think it was before me moving to Togliatti. He said something like, it's in our human nature to want more and more and more and more and more stuff, and there's never enough, and we need to somehow suppress it and take our feelings under control. And so when I was meditating today, this came up again, like, no matter how much I ask, I will still want more, and it's somehow wrong. And so I highlighted 3 limiting beliefs that I need to work through and I need to shift. The first one was that wanting more and more is somehow bad and wrong. The second one was that there is not enough money, there is never enough money. And the third one was that money doesn't bring happiness. And so I started doing this work that Amanda Francis teaches us to do. I wrote down every limiting belief that I was going to work on, and I asked myself, is it ultimately true? So, is it ultimately true that wanting more and more stuff is wrong? No, it's not. Our desires help us expand. This is how we make this world a better place, by our pure desires. We expand, we want more, and we reach for more, and we create more. And I believe this is how we make this world a better place, because we want more peace, we want more creativity, we desire more freedom, and this is how we create it. We first have a desire within us, and then we work, we shift our limiting beliefs, and we go towards our desires. And people who don't have desires, first of all, people who don't have desires, they don't move anywhere. They feel stagnant. They don't allow themselves to dream, to wish for something else. And also, people who don't want anything just don't exist. We all want something. It's our true nature to, how Abraham Hicks say, send the rockets of desire and expand. And I also, while I was journaling, I remembered where I picked it up from, that wanting more and more is somehow bad. It comes from my upbringing. I'm sure you can relate. I remember when I was younger, my parents were angry when I wanted something. Like, I want stuff, I want my parents to buy me this and that and that. I want things because there is a lot of fun and cool stuff in the world. And they get angry, and my mom used to get angry because, she would say, you want and you ask for more and more and more stuff, but when I ask you for help, you get annoyed and unhappy and, nervous and stressed. And so now I'm an adult and I still have this mindset that wanting more is bad and don't give me anything because I don't want to deserve it. I don't want to work for it. I just want to be left alone and do whatever I want to do, but I know that you don't get paid for what you want, for doing what you want to do. And first of all, this is how it works with humans, and it's okay. It's normal. Like, if somebody would ask me for more and more and more and more stuff, and when I ask for help, they would get stressed and annoyed, I would be unhappy too. This is okay. It's absolutely normal. But this is not how your inner being is. This is not how your soul is. This is not how God is, because your desires are your inner being's, your soul's desires, God's desires. Like when you want something, every desire is given to you together with the energy, with the power to make them come true. And we often make conclusions that when it works like this, when some process is working amongst people, it should be the same in the relationship between you and God, and it's not the same. It's, conditional love versus unconditional love. And also drop the need to justify. We need to just drop it, to let it go. We don't have to justify stuff when we ask God for that. This is how I felt during that meditation. I asked for some amount of money, and then I felt like, but what if I spend it differently than I was planning to spend it? I'm gonna return to this question a little bit later. But it's just that God doesn't need you to justify. It's not like God cares really. Can you imagine that God would listen to your desires and would decide to give you money only when it's obvious that you're going to spend it wisely? No, you need to justify it for yourself. You don't give yourself money. You don't give yourself opportunities to make that money, to receive that money, when you don't feel like you're going to spend it wisely. And wise spendings and not really wise spendings are different from person to person, and they are too usually based on what we grew up with, what we grew up believing. And God will give you because you want. God will give you money because you want it. God will give you freedom because you want it, opportunities because you want them. You don't need to justify anything, because your desires, the fact that you have your desire within you is enough already to be worthy of your desire. You are worthy of your desires. God will give you because you want it. And I just remembered this example that Abraham Hicks gave once. It's this image of Santa Claus that we try to impress, and we are scared in the end of the year because we don't know if he's gonna give us presents or not. Were we good children? Have we been good children or bad children? Do we deserve presents or don't deserve presents? And it's just such an unfair system. And now imagine that you are the Santa Claus who decides to give you presents or not, depending on have you been a good enough or not a good enough child. And usually we decide if we've been good enough or bad enough, depending on, again, on our upbringing, what our grown-ups taught us to believe is good or bad. And now we are that Santa Claus who doesn't give us presents because we don't believe we deserved it somehow. Because God will give you because it's your desire. You are the one who doesn't give you your desires. This idea, when I first heard it, was just mind-blowing. And so I digged a little bit deeper and I asked myself, what does this need to justify money spendings comes from? And again, it comes from the upbringing. In my childhood, we in my family had this idea of, useful spendings and useless spendings, useful shopping and useless shopping. Like, for example, there is food that is useful to buy because, you can cook, you can, live for the whole week, but some extra food is useless because it goes to waste, because it's a waste of money, because we can totally go without it. Same with clothes. We have necessary amount, one pair of shoes, one coat, one pair of jeans, and it's enough. It's absolutely necessary. it's useful spendings. But something extra, an extra pair of shoes that I want because it's beautiful, an extra jacket that is not really practical, for example, because it's just, shiny and beautiful and not really warm, is some extra spending, and it's a waste of money. And the same was with everything. And what it led to is I, being an adult, being a grown-up, still considered that there are some spendings that are useful and there are some spendings that are useless. Like some amount of food that I can live on for the whole week is useful spending, but everything else, like a cake that I want, a box of candies or something else like that, which is yummy, tasty, delicious, but not really, a healthy food, is a waste of money. Or for example, one pair of shoes, one pair of jeans, one dress is enough. It's absolutely needed. And when I don't have it, when like something's wrong with my shoes, I need to go buy a new pair, then it's useful spending. But if it's something extra, if it's just a dress that I liked but I don't really need, it's a waste of money. And then I feel guilty because I spent money on it. And so the next time I don't buy it. And the next time I go to the store and I see something that I like, I say to myself that I don't really need it, that I have, enough dresses, and I don't buy it. And with years, it became a habit to just saying no to everything. No to all my desires, because I can live without them. I only need to buy what's necessary, what I really need, what I cannot live without. And you know what? For a lot of years, I only had money for just the necessary stuff. And this is how it works in OMG. And so if I needed something extra, if I wanted something extra just for myself, I felt the need to prove that I needed it actually. Prove to who? To, I don't know, to mom, to myself, to, people who will see my new purchase, to my husband now. I feel this need to justify my spendings. Otherwise, I feel guilty for spending money on myself just because it was my desire, because it was not the necessity, it was just something I really wanted. And God gives us what we want because we want it. That's enough. I want it and I'm worthy of it. And it took me some time to, work through this. And I don't know if I did. We'll see, like, if those limiting beliefs come up again soon. But you get to choose your lifestyle. You get to choose what you want. You don't have to settle for less and for just the things that are needed to survive, because are you in survival mode or are you in a thriving mode? Is it on or in? I don't know. You get to choose your lifestyle. It's okay to want new stuff. It's okay to want new clothes. It's okay to want to look the way you want to look. It's okay to eat the way you want to eat and what you want to eat. If you want to eat in cafes all the time, it's fine. There are people who have this lifestyle and they don't feel guilty about this, and you do. You feel guilty about this and you are not allowing this lifestyle for yourself. It's just in your head. It's not because God decides what's a good lifestyle and what's a bad lifestyle. It's you who are not allowing it to yourself. And God will give you what you want. And then there is this other idea I mentioned earlier that came up during the meditation. What if I ask for this amount of money to spend it on something, and then I get this amount of money and I spend it on something different? Because there is this saying that money comes for your desires. Like when you want something, when you want to buy something, and money comes for this purpose, but you repurpose it, you use it in a different way, then what happens next? Then you don't deserve this desire anymore? Who decides that again? And this idea has been very confusing to me for a long period of time too, because I believe it also comes from this limiting mindset that there is not enough. We have many desires. It's okay. Like if you get some amount of money and you are planning to spend it on something and then you spend it on something else, guess what? You will manifest more money. It's not like money is limited. It's limited in your head, right? And this is what we're trying to shift, this idea that we have limitations, that we need to, only choose which desires of ours are better than others, which are useful and which are useless, which are worthy to spend money on and which are not. You have many desires, you're trying to make your life better. Nothing is a waste of money. Nothing is a waste of money. I heard this idea from Amanda Frances, and I liked it so much that, there are a lot of people who think that money can be wasted and not wasted. And, and she said, it's never a waste. And actually, Abraham Hicks said it too. It's never a waste. Like when you buy something, you support a business, you support a person who sold it to you, you support their family because they will have a salary and they will, feed their kids. It's never a waste. And no matter what it is, you're making your life better. Be it a new device, some food that you crave for in the moment because you believe that it's gonna make you feel better. You deal with why you bought it and why you believed it's gonna make you feel better. It's another story, but money is never wasted. It just is in your head. And well, we just discussed it, right? Just remember that you get to have everything you want and God gives you because you want, because you have this desire and it's enough. The second thing I worked on was this idea that I want to do what I want, but I know that people don't get paid for just doing what they want. And again, is this ultimately true? No, it's not, because there are a lot of people who do what they want, who are being who they truly are, authentically, and they get paid well for this. And I work on this too. I want to be myself, I want to be authentic, and I want to get paid for this. And here I remembered something as I was journaling. I remembered the situation where when I was I think 7 or 8 years old, and our teacher, no, I think I was older. It was in school. I was maybe like 9 or 10 years old. And our teacher gave us homework to learn a poem by heart. And I didn't like the poem, but I was the child who was all the time learning poems. It was just my hobby. I had a really good memory, and I would, I had a lot of books with poems, and I would find a poem that I liked and I would just learn it by heart. I still remember a bunch of those poems. And so I didn't like the poem that was our homework, and I don't remember who asked. Maybe I asked, maybe my mom asked my teacher if I maybe allowed not to learn the poem that I didn't like and tell the poem that I like instead. And she agreed, the teacher agreed. And it was a beautiful poem in Russian about, something deep and meaningful. It was about a girl, a little child, who was not a beautiful child, but she was very, open-hearted and amazing and so happy for other people. And, the moral of that poem, the idea of that poem was that your looks don't matter, your soul matters, something like that. And the teacher liked that poem so much that she made the whole class to write an essay about that poem. And as I was journaling, I gave it to myself as an example of, I get to do what I want and get paid for this because I get an A for that. And so I decided it to be an example of, of that you get to do what you want. Like when the whole society, your parents or whoever expects something from you and you do it your way, not betraying yourself, doing what you love, what you find interesting and exciting, it pays off. It gets to be your way, and and society gets to like it even more when you're doing it your way, when you're being authentic. And also, I think it's not about doing what you want, it's more about being who you are. We all had those examples, either in our lives or in other people's lives, that, when a person likes to do something and they decide to start making money on their hobby, then after some time it turns to be work, not a hobby, and they stop enjoying it so much and it becomes a pain and they, don't feel like doing it anymore. And it's because it all comes from who you are and how you are, not from what you do. Because when we are authentically ourselves, we have this inspiration to do this or that. We're very different. We have a lot of interest. But people who do not interfere with who they are, who do not limit themselves, they get to be successful in every area because, they're in their genius. They do what they are. And it can shift, it can change from time to time, because we all change and we all evolve. But people who get to be who they really are become successful in everything they do because, for example, the same example, you have a hobby and you decide to make a living out of it. And then you cannot change it, you cannot be flexible because, it's a system that works and you're scared of changing it. But at the same time, you're not being who you really are because your authentic self wants to do it differently. It evolved, it wants to do it another way, for example, and you just don't let it. And when you accept yourself, when you decide that you're going to be who you really are, no matter what, then it's natural for you that you can change, that you can evolve, that you can be different. And look at these successful people. I was looking at the people that I admire: Amanda Frances, Tony Robbins, Genevieve Rackham, a lot of other coaches that I really admire. They are just being themselves, and when they feel like changing something in their business, they're changing it because it feels right, because they're not just doing what they want to do even when they don't want to do it anymore. They are being who they are. And it always comes from the heart. So it would be very useful to journal on that. Ask yourself who you are, how you are. Start noticing your qualities. Start noticing what you love and what you don't love, what inspires you and what, puts you down. And start learning more about yourself, getting to know yourself more, because this is the knowledge that you're going to come back to regularly. And also when you're being authentic, you accept your desires. You accept that you evolve, that you have a lot of things you want, and you accept them too. And you just accept the fact that desiring something, wanting something all the time is your nature, and you accept it. It's amazing, and you get to have it. God gives you because you want. So is it ultimately true that you don't get paid for doing what you want? No. Definitely not. We know a lot of people, we know a lot of artists that do exactly what they want and they get paid well for this. And I choose to live in that reality. I want to be that kind of person and I'm working on it. And then there was one more attitude that I wanted to shift that I mentioned before, is when I said that I have this mindset now that don't give me anything. I don't want to work for it. I don't want to, to prove to yourself that I deserve it. And I thought that actually it's fair. It's me fighting for my freedom. Only I don't have anybody to fight with. And the only thing that is maybe limiting about this is that because of this mindset, I started seeing everybody who wants to give me something as evil, as somebody I need to prove to that I'm worthy. And I didn't want to do that. When in fact, the only person who doesn't think I'm worthy is myself. And as long as I think that, I keep attracting people who reflect it back to me. So it should be, give me anything you feel like giving. I am already worthy of it. And I'm gonna be grateful. And I do pay back by all my content. It's up to you if you want to consume my content or not. But I do pay back, and I do it because I feel like it, not because I somehow need to deserve your love and your support. Again, it's all in my head. And if you resonate with this, ask yourself, why do you feel unworthy? Why do you feel that you need to, again, justify that you're worthy of everything people want to give to you? you want to justify it to yourself. You yourself think that you are a waste of money, right? Why do you think you're a waste of money? It's about self-love and self-appreciation and a bunch of limiting beliefs. This is all that I wanted to share with you today. I hope it was useful because, I know that our limiting beliefs are similar, a lot of them. And I know that for sure because as I was listening to a lot of podcasts with a lot of people who used to be where I am now, I realized that we all are so connected. We all go through so many similar stuff, and we always tend to think that we are the only one dealing with our problems, but this is so not true. There are so many people who are going through the same stuff. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and a comment to support me. If something triggered you in my words, leave a comment and let's shift those limiting ideas together, or work through them in your journal, asking yourself about every limiting idea that you have. Is it ultimately true? Because probably not. And you get to choose a new reality, a new way of thinking for yourself. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Thank you so much for watching. I love you and have a lovely rest of your day. Mwah.